Morning. I just listened to a wonderful interview with Dr. Zach Bush, MD, and Del Bigtree on the High Wire. And if you don't subscribe, even if you just look at the headlines every day, it just opens your perspective about all sorts of things. Now, I've heard Dr. Zach Bush speak a couple of times in the last 12 months because he not only discusses the microbiome, so that is how bacteria and fungi, how they interact with our body, how they're important for our health, how they're important for our earth, how they're important for life on the planet as we know it. But Zach Bush, a year ago, when I first heard him, and he was talking about the viome, and I thought, viome? I haven't heard that term before. And he was talking about the trillions of viruses that are on it, trillions and trillions of viruses that are in our bodies, in our surroundings, in our everyday lives, and how they interact with life with us and life on the planet, and how life is not sustained if they don't exist. So obviously the past year has been about fear of viruses, and it's been about fear of other human beings and fear of infection, and really ramping up this latest craze of what we should be fearful of. But the interview is so worth a listen because it discusses global warming and how we've actually had like spikes about 8 times in the last 800,000 years. And Dr. Zach always comes from a place of love, and he sounds so peaceful, and he knows his stuff so beautifully. And when he discusses it, we're not hearing this dialogue or this narrative or this story from anyone else. And it is such a beautiful take on what's going on the planet. In fact, he even says, if this is the way that humans are going to go out, he's talking about the fact that we're all focused on not me, but politicians and people, focused on the carbon dioxide going up, and therefore blaming the carbon dioxide. So all of the politicians around the world are creating plans of taxing people for carbon dioxide and, basically creating that as the bad guy, the whole anti-meat thing and the whole pro-vegetarian, vegan, even if it's synthetic, which of course uses genetically modified organisms, which has its whole own history. But it's sort of interesting because he said nothing on this planet can happen without carbon. Now, it's worth having a listen because, once again, I need to take some notes and really get a handle on this, and I'll probably, in amongst everything else, I'll try to listen to it again. But another thing that he sort of made the comment about, which was really cool, was that the trees, of course, are being chopped down all over the planet for big agri, big pharma, big tech to make all the things like our phones. And hey, I've got one here, I've got my TV, I'm, fully aware. But it's sort of like so many of us are asleep and just unconscious of what we are doing in our daily lives. At least I'm awake to the fact that I'm using technology and that's destroying the planet. So therefore I do my own small things like my composting, and I've got plenty of trees in my yard, and so there's lots of small things, and I buy organically when I can, and so I make an effort and consciously. And I was even thinking the other day, someone was talking about the conscious, subconscious, unconscious, and of course I use those terms all the time in kinesiology. And this person was connecting the conscious, subconscious, unconscious to the evil on the planet at the moment, which I sort of thought was an interesting take, and I hadn't really thought of it before. Because when we're conscious and we're making bad decisions, at least we're conscious of it. So when I'm choosing a coffee instead of a purified water, I know I'm choosing a coffee. I'm choosing that. When I choose ice cream over some fresh organic raspberries and blueberries and strawberries, I'm making that conscious choice. I'm aware that ice cream is not the better option. But so many of us are simply living our lives, and each time we eat, we're not thinking about what that's doing to our cells, what that's doing to our microbiome, what that's doing to our long-term health. And then we're just going off to the doctors and the medicos and hoping they're going to find some fast solution, steroids or antibiotics or, some other medication that's going to help to fix the problem that we've created by those unconscious choices in our life. But the other part of this little equation with the conscious, subconscious, unconscious is that the people who are unconscious, like you've heard that saying in the past year, I'm sure you have, it's been all over my Facebook, is that evil happens when good people do nothing, that sort of concept. So, and that's why, my viewership's gone down massively. I'm getting, a quarter of what I used to get a year ago. It's not profitable for me to be putting out these videos. But if I'm helping occasional people stand up and pay attention and know what's going on, I can't not do this. I just can't. So anyway, so the unconscious, in my survival patterns that I do with kinesiology, it's about the unconscious in our body that just happens that we should not be aware of. So the unconscious part of the brain is designed to control our breathing. It's designed to control our digestion. It's designed to control our sleep. So all of those things should happen without thinking about it. Whereas when we're in survival, all of that gets out of kilter as well and mixed up with our fight, flight, reaction, rage, anger. So our unconscious is then in control of how we're feeling every day, which should be more subconscious or conscious. So Dr. Zach was saying that on the planet now, on this planet Earth, and we've got 7.7, 7.8 billion people, how many people are actually unconscious, unaware of those actions we're doing all day, every day, and therefore allowing the big agendas in the background, the big tech, big pharma, big agra, all of those things are just going ahead and we go, oh yeah, that'll be good for us in the future. Well, he talked about the fact that the trees on the planet, which are of course getting chopped down, that's just really one part of the lungs or the breathing of the planet. He talked about the soil. So he was saying that 97% of the soil on the planet is like a set of lungs with emphysema, or COPD as they call it these days. So, which is sort of an interesting thing to think about. So when we do all the practices on our land where we are denaturing our land and we're spraying it with chemicals and pesticides and herbicides, and we're feeding it water that has chemicals in it, and we are not allowing the life, to be in the soil. We're destroying the microbiome, the biome within our soil. He had another word for it. I can't think of what it is. But it was anyway, I would highly recommend to go and have a listen to that video. And it won't be on FB because, of course, you're not allowed to do anything like that. And, of course, he's been taken off here as well. So, but he does have his own channel, highwire.com, easy to find, get onto his mailing list. And even if most of it annoys you because you're not into this sort of stuff, in which case I don't know what you're doing here, but sometimes even just seeing those headlines every week, and he often has his 2-hour show pulled apart into little 5-10 minute segments. And it was a doozy this week. There's quite a few bits on there that were amazing. But I loved Dr. Zach. And he said that even if this is destined to be our part on the planet when we're going to be extinct, and I don't know why I'm smiling because, once again, he comes from a place of love all the time. He said if we're going there consciously, then at least energetically, spiritually, as we die and go into the earth, and then become part of the microbiome, biome of the earth, then the next humans or the next species on the planet might take up that spiritual energy and may learn from our mistakes. Interesting idea. Anyway, I thought I would do... Oh, and the other thing that he sort of finished with was just focus on the beauty. Focus on the beauty of sunshine. Focus on the beauty of a sunset. Focus on the beauty of nature. Focus on the beauty of eating beautiful organic foods. Just focus on the beauty, because it's so easy to get caught up into the stress and the politics and the pandemic and everything that we're forgetting. We're forgetting to pay attention to the beauty that's all around us. So that's going to be my quick little tweaking this morning, is going to be about paying attention to the beauty, paying attention to nature, knowing that it's part of us, knowing that we're all one. Okay, take care. Bye.